Over the next few months, I personally think most of you will make crazy gains in crypto. But there's one thing you've got to really understand. You've got to be prepared to make the gains. And that might sound crazy, but I'm telling you right now, if you do not go in with a proper plan, things are gonna get so much more difficult. Let me present you with a story. There is a story that goes a little ways back of Elon Musk making a ton of money, but then investing every single cent, and as the story goes, also even borrowed money to invest in new companies. And people look at the results of now Tesla, all those companies, and think, wow, what an amazing idea. But they forget to realize the core principles in that. But let me elaborate. If we take a look at Jeff Bezos, for example, how much does he have? He's got a good amount. What did he start with? Well, probably a little gift from his parents, whatever. Let's say you started with $250,000. You gotta think for yourself, at some point that $250,000 turned into what? 10, $20 million? And now, of course, when we look at it, it's, maybe 100 billion or so, but at some point it was worth a number in the middle, or maybe a lot of numbers before that. And so my elaboration comes here. In the process, first of all, to make something, you've got to be able, or at least willing, to lose something. And that relates to crypto very much so. If you're starting out with zero, it's a lot more difficult than if you're starting out with a ton. But the opposite goes, where if you started with zero, it won't feel bad to lose anything because you've got nothing, or at least you started with nothing. So whatever you make is just gains. Whereas if you started with a whole bunch of money and now you're losing things, you feel that. But if you are starting and you've got no plan, nothing going for yourself, and you get a multiplier in your money, or even if you start with zero, make some money. The problem here being that you really won't know when to cash out if you didn't think about this before. Let me elaborate. If you're starting out with $1,000, for example, some might be thinking, hey, let me put it in a couple of coins. All of a sudden it turns to 4,000 and they're satisfied because now they've quadrupled their money. Happy times. Another holder might be thinking though, hey, I got $1,000 now. I either am going back home with $100,000 this season or back home with zero. Well, once more, that person is also at some point going to see $4,000 in his account, but he's going to have to hold it for a significant, or perhaps very short amount, but some time longer to see those crazy gains. Where am I getting to with this? If you do not have a plan up front, what makes the difference there between the person holding from 1,000 to 4 and the person holding from 1 to 100? It could have been the same person, but they're two different ones. One had a plan, one also had a plan, but a different one. Because the person with no plan is person number 3. He went from 1,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 back to 0. I know. My story here is being a little bit vague, but it's just, I wanted to quickly share a couple of thoughts that have been lingering around that many people forget to now start up the video here. Give you guys my honest thoughts about something and give you guys a plan. But this is just something for everybody to think about, and I hope it's not too vague, but let's give this a little look. So when we're taking a look at the crypto market, because I'm going to put everything into real examples now, we take a Bitcoin at $63,000. This price could be completely different tomorrow. If we take a look at BNB right now at almost 600, this could be 500 tomorrow. On the opposite side though, because we're in the crypto space, anything that you're buying could be worth a ton more the day afterwards. 10%, 20%, 50%, who knows? But when exactly should you buy? When exactly should you sell? Now, over on Telegram, I was informing you guys a little bit earlier that I'm buying Bitcoin because it got to 56,000. It was too cheap. It was worth stacking up on. But when I'm being honest, I don't think Bitcoin is going to bring us the majority of the gains over the next few months. And so what I'm going to have to do is, well, depending on what you're starting out with, take some profit from whatever we started at with Bitcoin. We bought it at 56,000. Right now it's trading at 63. So that's significant profit since we're using 17x leverage. You can find more info about that over into Telegram. And then diversify that back into altcoins. Once more, if you remember my 1, 2, 3 story from just now, that means we've got money to lose now, which might hurt, but we now have to devise a plan of what do we want to turn it into? When are we satisfied? If we've got no plan, we're either going to ride it from 1 to 4 and then back to 0, or from 1 to 100 and then onwards. But it's very hard to manage because, again, you're never really sure when to exit, when to make a pivotal change. Even for Bitcoin right now, let's say I bought at 56K. When am I going to exit the trade to make the money real? In my own humble opinion, whenever you put money into something and it goes up or down, it's just a loss or just profit. And the reason I'm saying that is because I never like to think about this sunk cost fallacy of, oh, but I put this much in and it's only worth this little now. I shouldn't sell. Because I think about it from an opportunity perspective of, let's say I have $1,000. I put it into a crypto, ooh, goes down 20%. I've only got $800 left. I don't think about it like, oh, I put 1,000 in, I'm down a little bit. I think, hey, I just have $800 in this crypto right now. Should I take it out and place it into something better suited, or should I keep it in? This gets more difficult when your taxes are involved, but that's my mental perspective on it. Not thinking of, I lost $200 on this, but just thinking, hey, I have $800 right now. Where should I put it into to make the majority of the most amount of gains in the next time span? And again, it comes back to what I've been saying 1,000 times. You need a plan. A plan that I have set forth to most of my friends is always, if you are starting with a number, so let's say $1,000 or so, at no point in your initial journey should you invest everything. Maximum half of it, maximum $500. This won't count for the majority of you people watching because you've probably been around for a little while. This is for the newbies. And that's because of two things. One, because you really don't know which cryptos you want to go for until you've been here for a while. That's one. And second of all, there's 3 points. Second of all, and this I think is the most important point, most of the time when you buy, things come down even more. And if you've got half of your stash ready, you can buy as it comes lower. And if it goes up a lot, at least you're making profit, so you're also satisfied. And point number 3 is, for most people, it's very hard to deploy everything they've got. Their brain is stopping it. I've said it 1,000 times. The hardest thing about investing in crypto is making the first step, buying your first coin. And if at least it's just a portion of your money, you just got to buy a couple of coins. You don't have to put everything just quite. You just place a little bit. I think it makes this step easier to do it. I'm also not a fan of research everything until you buy something. No, I'm a big fan of try buying something, see how it works, see how it goes. Even if it's just $10, for example, and go from there, then start doing the research. Because once more, the hardest part is starting. On the opposite side, and this is again where my story comes together, why you need a plan. The actual hardest part is when to sell. If you want my personal thoughts, probably it's wise to start selling in about, I'm going to say 9 months or so from now. I think throughout the next few months, especially as the summer rolls on out, we're going to probably, in my opinion, see crazy bullish markets for all coins and for everything. But I'm going to say 2025, the start will be really exciting still, but it's going to fade out as 2025 closes. And so somewhere in 2025, the peak is going to have been. And so you're going to want to start selling. One of my friends, my investor friends, told me it might be wise to sell 1% of your remaining balance every single day from 2025. That means if you're starting out with 100%, you're not at 0% after 100 days. You sell 1% of whatever you have left, meaning you sell 1% first, then slightly less than 1%, and then slightly less than 1% of your total balance, your initial balance basically, every single day. So you can theoretically speaking sell forever, because if you started out with $100, the first day you'd sell $1, second day you'd sell 99 cents. But like I've shared in my previous video, cash has also got a couple of issues, and the tax man has got a couple of little footprints here and there also. So before you get too heavily into all this, and I'm gonna say before this 9-month period is over, you've got to figure out for yourself how to deal with the taxes, how to sell efficiently, which exchanges to use. I personally use Bybit for everything, but just check for yourself. Which has the lowest fees, perhaps. Again, if you're wanting to cash out significant sums of money, fees might play a little bit of a role. Which have easy withdrawals to your bank. Not a very big deal, but check these things beforehand. You've got a couple of weeks or months. It's not like you're in a rush to do everything today, but it's worth doing. How to sell coins that are not available on your exchanges anymore. So how to use a DEX, how to actually have all these decentralized wallets. Should I be moving to another country? What are my options? Once more, not for everybody, but I'm saying these are things you should be preparing for right now when things are mediocre, not too crazy exciting, so you can reap the benefits of them when we're at peak bull market season. And most importantly, you need a money plan. And when I say money plan, I mean, if you're starting out with $100 right now, where are you satisfied? Where are you just going to be like, okay, let me take a good chunk of profit and then move on with a smaller sum of money? Because most people will lose everything they put in. Most people. And that's mostly because they think, oh, it should become more. It should become more. And you keep thinking it should be more forever. And it goes down. But if you are able to think of a number and stop there, or at least take some profits along the way, or like I just said, understand that it's a cyclical market, meaning we go up for a couple of years and come down for a while. Yet you don't keep sticking through to the bitter end unless, like I said in my previous video, you're holding coins that have longevity, that have a future. Most of the people don't, but if you are, and I think it's fine because it's a temporary thing. Then it comes back to, like I said, I don't believe in the sunk cost fallacy, but theoretically speaking, you haven't lost money until you sell it. Whereas, or I should say where, if you've just got longer term coins, you know, RWA coins, for example, it kind of beats two of the boxes or ticks two of the boxes. One, it's an area that will most likely grow a ton over a while. And second, I said, cash is kind of stupid, right? So what are you going to go for? You want to go for either real businesses, which is where cryptos with real products come in, hyped up newer areas, AI is probably going to grow a lot, or you might want yourself real things, you know, you want to buy yourself houses, things of that sort, real world assets. So why not do that in a crypto version? Those are just some areas that I think are really, really smart to go for. And again, you might also want to include this in the plan of, I want one sector for long-term coins, one sector for really hyped up short term coins like meme coins, etc. And here's a stash for safety, being some USDT, for example, in case you need to deploy more capital if things come back down. Anyway, I don't want to take you for too long. All I want to just say is sit down, realize that to get to great heights will take much risk, probably a lot of stress unless you've got a really solid plan you can stick with it, and that many before you have had to do it. Where again, somebody probably had $1,000 turned to 1 million, and if he'd held a little bit longer, it would have been 10 million, but he sold. One person would be very disappointed because he could have just made $9 more million. Another person would be extremely happy because he just made $1 million. It's all about perspective. It's all about the plan, and hopefully I'll see you guys again.